Are your kitchen and bathroom way overdue for a remodel? Well, I got the guy for you. Call John Sellers at First Response Contracting, 484-256-7136. Both residential and commercial services, and he's licensed and insured. Call him at 484-256-7136. First Response Contracting.
From real estate
Affects the market as a whole, which then sometimes will affect the tenant.
Right. It'll come in.
to real life.
We all learn in different ways. If you think about it, Wayne Dyer might not attract everybody.
And everything in between.
Mission was really to help people just to reach their full potential.
The Brad Weisman Show. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right. Hugo,
Hello, baby.
another Thursday.
Yes.
It's
here we are.
unbelievable.
Back like the Terminator.
Yeah. I'll be back. Is that what that meant?
Back like the Terminator.
Yeah, back. That was good. I got that right away.
Well,
Sometimes I don't get your jokes, and not that they're not good. I just don't understand them.
Mexican humor, baby.
No, that's funny. So we don't always do local, but today we're going to be with a local guest here, and I'm really excited about it because we've been talking to him and his wife for quite some time, and we're finally going to sit down. You probably know this. If you're local, you've heard of the station WEEU. It's been around forever, and we'll find out how long it's been around in a couple of seconds here. But there's new ownership there, new management, new ownership, and it's John Treese and his wife, Christine, and they were crazy enough to buy a radio station, but we're going to find out that it's gone pretty well, and I think it's going to do very well because we got some great people that are running it now. So without any more delay, John, how are you doing?
I'm great. And I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and
absolutely.
invite me into the studio here. This is pretty nice.
Thank you.
I'm jealous, actually. I wouldn't say almost. Yeah, this is really
It's
cool.
cozy.
Yeah.
You guys, hey,
love it.
I've seen your new digs. And I've been following you guys on Instagram and stuff like that. And I have to say, you guys did a nice job.
I appreciate
it.
that.
Really needed it.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
A ton of work.
I'm sure it was. And let's just dig into that. I mean, WEU has been around for how long?
Since, I believe, 1931.
1931.
So it is one of the older radio stations in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
But not the oldest.
Right.
Also not the oldest in Reading, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
WRAW maybe?
Was the
I was
first in
going to
Reading.
say, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, WRAW up there in the hill. Yeah.
But WEEU started from small power.
Yes.
There's a whole story there. But the thing that attracted Christine and I and myself to it is that this is a station that is one of the more powerful stations in the state of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
It's got a massive
Now, when
signal.
you say that, why is that? Like, how does that work? Do you have equipment that makes it powerful? Is it because of the location? Is it because of the hills?
Well, just down the street from here, there's Broadcasting Square.
Yes.
And that used to be the transmitter site.
I remember that. Yes, where Target is.
I forget how many towers there were.
There was a bunch there.
There's a map in the basement that we found of the old site that has the towers on it. But it was there, and I think it was 5,000 watts during the day.
Okay.
It was either 5 or 1, but anyway, it was a small power. When they sold the property, they moved it out by Interstate 78 in Charlottesville.
Oh,
that's where
okay.
our towers are now.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's a heck of a drive. I'll say that. You have to go out there and do something. But what it gave them the opportunity to do is take a look at the signal and how much more power they could increase by manipulating where the signal went, what frequency it was on. If you remember, it was on 850 for a while.
Yes.
And then it switched to 830. The place 830 on the dial gave them the space they needed to increase power. Now we're 20,000 watts a day with a very unique night signal, which is 6,000 watts at night. And what that means is 20,000 watts lets us touch about 16 counties in the state of Pennsylvania, Eastern PA, during the day. And at night, we are well into Philadelphia, Schuylkill County, toward the Lehigh Valley.
What's the difference between day and night?
It's the way the AM frequency works in the atmosphere. So during the day, the signal doesn't travel as far with the power. Okay. But at night, I think it's called the ionosphere. I'm sorry for any engineers out there.
You could tell me it was because of
mad at me for
you could tell me it's because of Mickey Mouse. I wouldn't know the difference. Yeah.
But at night, the ionosphere will take the signal and it just carries it
interesting.
forever. So you have to limit it. And then other stations are they're given the right to broadcast at certain powers. know, so you
can't
have to
just
protect. Yeah.
go out there and say, okay, we're going to send it as far as we can.
No.
You have a certain geographic area.
It's engineered. Engineers who are much brighter than I am take a look at the
amazing.
signal, and then they have to engineer how the towers will reflect the power of the broadcast and how it's going to interfere with a station in Cleveland versus the station in Delaware versus a station in New England that has the power. So you can't step on somebody else's signal. But that's where you get licensed for that, and there's studies that are done before licensing goes into place. But when they did the move, they got this massive power increase and made it a very in my opinion, a very viable radio station.
Gotcha.
Even being on AM today in 2025.
Yeah, but you're obviously throwing the net out further.
You absolutely.
So when it comes to marketing and stuff like that for you guys, you can say, hey, by the way, we're not just Reading here. We're out beyond Reading. We're Berks County. We're getting a little bit into maybe Schuylkill County and Lancaster. I mean, I don't know where it goes, but that's incredible. Never knew that. Very interesting.
I can sit at the Philadelphia International Airport and
still hear it.
And it's like a local signal down there, which is pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing. Yeah. That's awesome. Very cool. Right. Very cool. So so you obviously know about a little bit about radio. It used to be owned by, was it Red Eagle used to own it?
For many decades.
Many decades they owned it. And then it got bought out. I knew they weren't doing that well for a little bit.
Well, the paper went under.
Right.
So during that bankruptcy, all the assets had to be sold off.
It's gone.
And EEU was one of those.
Right.
And it went to bankruptcy auction. There was a time where it
and
may
nobody
have gone
wanted
off the
it,
air.
right?
Well, people wanted it, but it's...
for the price.
But I mean, it's weird because a radio station is like multiple things. So there's property, there's a license, there's the physical assets, there's all of these things that go with it. So I think at the bankruptcy auction, the thing that was up for auction was a license. But if you buy the license now, if you don't get the tower site, if you don't get the studios, how are you doing it?
Yeah, you're not doing anything.
And to rebuild that facility that's out in Charlottesville, it's nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Fiscally,
nobody's going to do it.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Today.
That's amazing. So then it went to another company after that, and then somehow, how did you guys find out about this? Did you always want a radio station?
So I
don't know if does anybody grow up going, I want to buy a radio station. I mean, nobody ever says they want to be a realtor either. Just so you know, and then all of a sudden it happens.
I think people used to grow up saying, I want to be in radio.
Yes, I did.
I think people still do.
Yes, of course.
And I was one of them.
Yes.
I grew up listening to radio. I was a big music radio fan. That's where I discovered I was big into oldies. If you really want to know. So like the there were a lot of programs on in the late 90s that did a lot of like deep dive kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and they would bring out the near misses, the bubbling under hits, and it was a lot of great music that you just didn't hear.
The B-side.
Yeah, and it was good stuff that you didn't hear on the mainstream formats of these oldie stations at the time. And the guys who would present this, and I have a couple that were big influences in my life, but they were very knowledgeable. And they would tell great stories about the music, great stories about the song, and introduce you to, not just throwing any record on there. It's there because it's good for a reason.
Right.
And it
give it the story. It gives it a story as opposed to,
and it introduced me to a lot of things that I never would have been introduced to, but radio became appointment listening because of that. Yeah. And there were a lot of shows that every single week I was tuning into. You couldn't miss it. I would drive around when I was in high school, and I would even bring my friends with me. There was a station in Berwick, PA, and it was one of these shows was on. The host has since passed, but it was every Sunday night from 5 o'clock till 9. I would get in the car and we would drive around and listen to this program because it was stronger in an area, so we'd head toward there and we'd drive up there. Yeah, and it was like a road trip and we're hanging out.
A lot of people did that years ago.
But that's radio.
Yeah,
and it was just something that was so powerful and and then it gets in your blood.
Yeah. And then
you want to do it.
And then so how did you get from that to you and your wife purchasing a radio station?
Well, I went into radio.
You did. So you were in radio.
So in college, I always loved radio. So I wanted to be involved. So I got involved at the college radio station. Cool. It was Elizabethtown College's WWEC.
Right.
But I ended up becoming the station manager. I was not a comm major. I was a political science major.
Okay.
But I loved radio. So I knew a lot. I taught myself a lot. So there was a lot that I could bring to the table. So they made me station manager. And I did that for a while. And then one day I saw there was like a part-time job post on the wall from one of the real FM stations in town.
Oh, wow.
And it was Warm 103 in York. And, we're not that far from York at the time. But I remember as a kid, that was one of the stations that one of the shows we would listen to. We would tune it in. I'm driving around with my mom, and I would remember listening to this show on Warm 103. And I figured, well, I'm going to apply and see what happens, not thinking anything of it. Yeah. Sure enough, I get a call from the PD. I get to go down and meet him, see this radio station. And
wow, that's cool.
I've driven by it a million times. It was just this dream come true.
Oh, yeah.
But then they actually hired me. and I didn't even know what to, I didn't
so
know
now
what
you're
to
like,
do.
oh no.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm oh no.
Yeah.
So, and this is back in the day where, and radio's changed a lot. Back then,
Didn't you have the carts and stuff? Did you have
I didn't have carts,
them?
but we were playing CDs. There were still carts in the building.
Yeah.
But, we still had, we had CDs. The music was on CD.
Yeah.
Commercials were on the computer. But it's one of those things where, what I was saying. This is what I was saying. The radio's changed because it was at the time when everything was staffed.
Yeah.
So I got the overnight shift on the weekends.
Yeah.
So I was 12 a.m. to like 6 a.m. Saturday morning and Sunday morning. All my friends are out partying and stuff. I'm playing the best variety of soft rock.
Cool.
Trying to stay awake.
Yeah, that's tough.
But standing in front of that microphone for the first time, realizing that this massive signal, I'm in charge of it. And people are out there listening, and it's, even though it is the overnight, people are consuming it.
Yeah.
And the phones would ring and all this stuff. But it was one of those things where, I would stand outside of the radio station after the shift was over and say, like, I cannot believe I'm getting paid to do this.
Because it's so fun.
Because it's so much fun.
Yeah,
And I've never lost that. So,
yeah, good for you.
I worked there for a number of years and never got out of radio, helped out with some local stations in Montgomery County and just stayed involved. I've done, some internet stuff just to, on a hobby side, but I ended up getting into software as a real profession.
Oh, wow.
And then working for some startups, we've, went through a couple of cycles of these startups. Our last one was coming to an end, and it was time for us to decide what our next step was going to be. And Christine and I both have an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
I've always been interested, and I'm always looking to see if there's something available that somebody's going to sell. And WEEU just happened to come on the market. The owner, Twilight Broadcasting at the time, was pretty much divesting of all their radio holdings. And that was the last one. Looked into it. It was still on the air. It still had a loyal following. It still had base billing, and it still owned its property.
Yeah,
so it kind of lined up as a perfect storm. And it was like, okay, well, if we're going to give this a shot, this is
the time.
This is the one that would give us the best opportunity.
Yeah.
We're not building it from the ground up. We have to fix it.
Yeah.
But we're not building it from the ground up, which was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, and like I said, it's from the pictures and everything, and what you guys are doing. I can just tell by the outreach. I can tell by there's new material, there's new people. There's still some people that were there before too, which is cool. But it's kind of like you're reinventing it. And I think you have to. I mean, like we were talking about a little bit before we went on, is how podcasting, which we're doing right now, has become a different, not competition. It's not really that. It's just, it's another avenue for somebody to listen to get their information. But then, when you look at the two things, they're saying for the future, they're going to kind of have to become married in a way, because I know you guys are doing a lot of streaming. Yeah, you're doing streaming, and a lot of the shows are now podcasts. Every show is a podcast, right? So I think that's something that I think, because you guys took over, I don't think that would have happened.
They were doing some of that stuff,
yeah.
But where we've changed things, I think we've made the biggest change is in how we've incorporated video into like our sports broadcasting. That has been a big change. Really, the equipment updates at the station were the biggest thing. The technological upgrades. It was very old, and it needed a lot, of help. And
I was in there on Mike Faust's show.
Okay, on feedback way back.
On feedback with Mike Faust, and it was right before he retired. Actually, I was one of the last times I was on there was with him, and it was amazing how I remember going in there going, "Whoa, this stuff's falling apart." It was definitely like some old equipment in there, but it was still working. But it looked it. So when you're doing video and something looks like it's ancient, it tends to not be good.
Well, and also with in any business, you're in real estate. Yeah. So if you are bringing a client and you're bringing a client in to do paperwork or whatever, and you bring them into a place that is not presentable.
Yes.
know that they get a lot of confidence in you when you do
So
that.
true, yeah.
And that's the same thing here
Yeah,
too.
of
So like,
course.
we have everybody and that's the point of what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's local radio, and it's very different from what you have, what the industry has become. It's become very nationalized, very homogenized.
Yeah.
You have a lot of radio stations, but not a lot of local people anymore, and things are operated from states far, far away and programmed.
They don't know
from
anything
far,
about the
far away.
market. They don't know anything
No.
about the market or the people in the community.
No, and they're not doing anything to provide an opportunity for the community to have a voice. And that's where our vision for WEEU is we want those doors open. We want to provide a forum. We want to provide a platform for Reading, the greater Berks area, and everybody under our coverage map. Like, love to have Montgomery County and Chester County and Schuylkill and get all of these areas involved. And we've branched out to that, but we provide that voice. And when you have senators and state representatives and business leaders and potential clients, our clients coming through the door, you have to have a presentable place that not only they will look at with a sense of confidence, but you can also walk through with a level of pride.
Yeah.
And I think that and I appreciate you saying nice things about it, but
absolutely.
I feel like it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but we've gotten to a point where WEEU is it's a gem in Reading now again.
Good.
So,
That's good to hear. That's really good to hear. Because when there was talks of it not being around anymore, it was kind of sad. It was because it's like staple of Berks County. And I remember being in my grandfather's car and driving around, and he'd have that on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on the radio all the time.
Well,
There's WEEU.
it's whether it's local news, which is one of the things that we would love to get back to.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
Hard now. It's
What makes it hard?
radio news people aren't being made anymore. Everybody is an Instagram or social media journalist, or they're a podcaster or something or they want to be in TV. Journalists today, the aspiration is to be in television. Nobody wants to be a radio journalist anymore. So to find somebody who's going to say like, I'm really excited to get out to that school board meeting, and I want to go to the county commissioner meeting, and I want to report on this thing that happened downtown and do this, on the radio every single day. They just don't make them anymore. So it gets hard to find them, and that's one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah, it is a challenge. And I think and we're so used to just getting it online too the next day, because all the townships now, they publicize everything online.
Sure.
Which they have to. It's part of public knowledge and stuff. But you're right. I never thought about it that way. It's interesting.
But if you're and the beautiful the thing about radio that I love, it's the immediacy of it.
Yeah.
And you have the immediacy in social media, and you get your feed. Your feed is as quick as anything else can be. Your feed is also full of a bunch of garbage.
Yes,
and it's
absolutely.
always full of a bunch of garbage. With radio, though, if we are presenting quality programming that you're engaged with anyway, and you're there for a reason. Hopefully, you that audience continues to grow. But if we're able to funnel that information into bite-sized pieces that you're able to get enough information so what's going on, and if you need more information on it, point you to the sources to get it. Sure. That to me is the success of doing local radio news. And at some point we're going to get back to that. That's right there on our target list, but you got to find the right people and make it happen.
That's interesting. Yeah. And that's one of the things that's funny when I was looking on here, because I'm in the podcast world, I was kind of looking to see what AI had to say about the differences between podcasts and radio. And it was funny is it talks about, in podcasting, we're not live anymore. We were. I mean, when we first started the show, we were live. That got to be a big pain in the butt because the guests didn't show up on time, and then you're trying to be live. It was
welcome
rough.
to our world.
Oh my gosh! Geez. So it was live. It was live, and then we decided obviously go to being recorded, and I think our audience has picked up on that. We try not to do dates and stuff like that, but we try to keep it that way. But
right.
Yeah, so going live is one thing. Weather, things like that we just don't have, and current events, things are going on right now, or today. Also, you guys still do it? Do you still do the call? Like people can call in,
of course,
and talk while you're on the show.
Absolutely,
right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things in my time growing up that really got me hooked on the importance of radio was, you remember the 1972 flood? I mean,
I was 2 years old.
You were young.
I'm 55.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, I figured you weren't. Thanks a lot for bringing that up.
But I was,
The guest is trying to say he's younger than me, which is fine. No, I was 72. I was 2 years old, but my I was 72. I look really good. But no, my mother had been through it, and her parents lived on Minor Street in Reading.
Okay.
And the water was up to the second floor.
It was something else. And I grew up in Selinsgrove.
Oh, yeah, Selinsgrove.
Sunbury, and the Susquehanna River. The two branches connect there.
Yes.
And it was big. Like the flooding was just ridiculous up there. And one of the stations, and I used to work for them, WKOK in Sunbury, to me, this was like one of the most incredible stories is that, and to show the importance of radio, especially at the time, you have all these people who are cut off from the world. You know, the flood's happening, communications are down. There's no cell phones or internet or anything like that. But you have all these people who have been displaced. And the radio station was in the flood area. So they sprung into action. They went into like an emergency broadcast formation, if you want to call it that. But they went up to the transmitter site, which was on a mountain or on a hill, and sent a couple people up there. And what they did for hours, they had like one reel-to-reel tape because one deck just to give them a break, but they were just taking calls, and people would call. I'm here. If my family's looking for me, I'm safe. I'm here. Or this person has an extra room available. If you need this, this is over here. You know, and it was the power of that lifeline that radio provided. I have the audio tapes of it, and it's just it gave me chills.
That's cool.
But to me, that's the importance of radio, and that's the thing that I think really differentiates what radio can be versus the podcasting platforms and some of the other stuff that you're doing. Because with like feedback, for example, when something happens, now there's a forum for
people to call in and ask questions.
People to call in and talk. And if they need to get something off their chest, within reason, they get things off their chest. But it's a great way to get, have a litmus test of what's going on in the area and see what people are actually thinking.
No, I agree. It's cool. No, it's I like that. That's what I like about the talk radio platform. So what's your vision? I mean, you guys have been doing this for how long? Hey guys, I want to take a second and thank Comfort Pro. Since 2001, Comfort Pro has been helping customers stay comfortable where they live, work, and play. They have 24/7 emergency service and a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. If you need help with your heating and air conditioning or indoor air quality, call Comfort Pro at 484-917-1803. Mention the show and receive a free humidifier with the installation of a complete system.
Since February of 2024. So we're pushing 2 years.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. That's great. So what's your vision? Like what are some of the things you're like, man, we want to do this, implement different things. I mean, I know you've been implementing a lot of things. You said something about a new afternoon show possibly coming up. I think is what you had somebody written on here.
Yeah. We're in the process of what we're really, the end game of what we're trying to do is provide local content and as much of it as we can possibly do. And right now we're live with Mornings with Mike from 6 until 9, and very popular. He has a great following. He's been doing it for a long time. He's a staple. Yeah. We have Feedback, which has been on since forever. Jack Holcomb was the Feedback.
That's what my grandfather listened to.
Mike Faust there. Now Bill Saunders has been on for over 4 years now. And in every one of those incarnations had its own different flavor, but Feedback is a very popular program. We had a great ratings book this last it was the spring book, very popular, but it's all about local content. We tried something in the afternoon that didn't work, and now we're in the process of workshopping a new program because we need another bookend for our local programming. So if we can get from 6A until 6P and have the majority of that be live, local, produced right here in Reading, then we're in a great spot.
That's awesome.
We've added a lot of other programming too, including some, we talked about sports, and WEEU for the longest time has had a very robust and very high quality sports program, local high school and football and basketball. And we've taken it to another level by adding video coverage to all of the games that we do. So not only do you get to hear Bob McCool, sports, Berks County Sports Hall of Famer, Bob McCool do his calls. And he does if you haven't heard him, you gotta tune it in. He does a great job and really pays honor to these kids.
That's an art, man.
It's hard.
When I listen to sportscasters, I always think, how in the world do they have all that information in their heads? and pull it out when they need it. Like I just don't understand.
It is a skill that I do not possess.
Neither do I.
And the amount of respect that I have for Bob for being able to do it. Well, and it's one thing because you have, to get off on a tangent,
that's right.
Merrill Reese, for example, follows the Eagles, and he's got a lot of stats on the Eagles, and he does his research on the other team, and he'll know what's going on there. For Bob, it's a
football
different pair
teams, right?
every single week.
Yeah.
We're not following one. It's because we have 16 counties to cover. We're trying to cover Berks as best we can.
Crazy.
So we do our game of the week, but he's covering different teams every single week.
He must love it, though. He has to have a passion for it.
He lives and breathes it.
Because there's no way. Like, I can talk about real estate pretty much all day.
Sure.
Because I've done it for 33 years.
Yeah.
But it's the same kind of thing. Like, when you know your topic, but I still look at that with sports and I just it blows my mind.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
Blows my mind. It's incredible.
So being able to bring the video to that, and
that's cool.
And from an advertiser supported perspective, it gives everybody an opportunity to consume it. There's no subscription. It's all free. Everything is accessible. And that's the other thing about radio is that it is free. And everybody can consume it. Anybody. There's no restrictions. And with our everything that we add beyond this, the podcast, the video content, whatever, it's the whole point is to make it available. And there's no paywalls, none of that kind of stuff. No, passwords to log into, any of that kind of stuff. But that was a big thing. We brought in a sports director who used to work with me in Lansdale at a radio station, and he brought on an extension of sports. After our game, we do a scoreboard show where he talks to writers and reporters, and he brings in coaches and athletic directors, and it's a Friday night recap of everything that's happened, not only just in Berks County and the Lancaster Lebanon League, but he goes beyond that. He's talking to people in York County. He's talking to Harrisburg.
Goodness.
Shamokin is having a fantastic season.
Haven't heard that word for a while.
And he's talking about that because it makes a difference in the world of state sports. He's bringing it all in, and it's a very fun, laid back, and very informative program that's brand new to WEEU.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We have a show on dirt track racing that started last
different.
year.
Never heard that before. Yeah,
it's the only one. And again, it's covering some of the local tracks here locally. And as that is growing, it continues to expand too. So it's about finding these. The content that's not available and giving it a platform and expanding on it as much as we possibly can.
So what about a real estate show? I mean, come on, you got to get a real estate show going.
You have my phone number, right? I can get you.
Actually, we've talked. We've talked. It might happen at some point.
I have a question. If there's someone out there listening or watching to this, and they think they got the talent, they feel passionate about talking, and they want to test their hand or get your feedback on how they do on radio, being a radio host.
Sure.
Like you say that they don't make them anymore. They're not popping up. How can they do that?
Like an audition, you mean? Like an audition.
Like an audition to see if they got the talent, if they got the goods to be a.
You can always reach out. I mean, our door is always open. It's a matter, we're
that's
here,
cool.
and that's a nice thing too. Is as I say that they don't make them anymore. They make people who really want to be in radio. We have there's at least 2 Gen Zers on our staff right now, and they're fantastic people. And they all came in with this passion and love for what they do, and it's in radio. And if you told me that there was going to be somebody who was born after the year 2000 that would want to be in radio, I would have told you you're out of this world. But they're here. And the flow of people from Alvernia that have come through, the tours that we do, everybody looks at this and they're like, they've never seen it. They have, in many cases, younger people don't even know it exists. So that when they find out that it's there, they're like, wow, wait, how can I be involved? Like, what can I do? And, we have great internship programs for that. We've hired people out of our internship programs, and, please come and see us because we'd love to talk to you.
Our kids, my kids probably have no idea. Like, I got to tell you, Catherine Carson, do you have any clue what a radio station is? I'm serious because everything's on everything's satellite. Everything's XM, Sirius XM. So you start to think I don't think they even know. I think they actually learned when I got an old radio from a house that I was going to sell, and I had it refurbished. And the only station it gets is WEEU.
Okay.
And Y102.
Okay.
That's it.
Because
that's all
it's
it
the
gets.
2 big, powerful stations.
Right. And that's all it gets.
Yeah.
But when I'm sitting there tuning it in and it's going, all that stuff. They're looking at me like, why don't you just push the button and get it to go on there?
Because that's
I'm
not
like,
how it works.
that's not how it works. But it's pretty neat. But it's those signals are strong.
Yeah.
I can listen to both of those on this it's like 1940s.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. But see, to me,
it's
I
cool.
love that.
But that's cool to you.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing, though, and this is my belief why the younger generations have gotten away from radio is it really isn't relevant.
Yeah.
It has stopped being relevant.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can speak from personal experience is that once music radio stopped talking to me,
Yep.
I mean, well, I don't have any use for it.
Exactly.
So if you're, playing me the same 15 songs over and over and over again,
Yep.
I'm living in a world where I can get whatever I want whenever I want it. Why do I need your silly playlist?
Well, you used to be able to request. Remember, you used to be able to request songs.
Right, and
That went away.
That went away. So because it's not relevant, there's no personality there anymore. You've had a whole generation that has moved away from it and have accepted other things to find that content,
which is podcasting, social media, all these things. But the pendulum swings.
It does swing.
It swings,
and that's the thing that we are trying to bring back.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to capitalize on. But you need to let people know, and you need to let them know it's there.
Yeah.
But you have to give them a reason why it's relevant to them, and that's the one of the reasons people ask why do we spend so much time in sports. Sports connects everybody.
Yeah.
Sports typically isn't divisive.
Correct.
Sports is, it touches.
Unless it's Eagles in Dallas.
Well, there you go. In our world here, in our little body, we can all agree for the most part on the Eagles.
Pretty much about the Eagles.
Is that Maggie? We have one of our Gen Zers, Maggie May, is a big Dallas fan.
Oh, okay.
Go figure. So she gets a lot of heat on that.
Maggie May. Okay, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, just
Maggie.
like the Rod Stewart song.
Well, it's funny. It's a great song. I was thinking Maggie Marr. We had her in here. She played acoustic guitar and was singing, so she's really cool.
Different person.
Yeah, different person. Yeah.
But with sports is. When we are at these games and we're doing the interviews, we're a legitimate part of the media. And when somebody comes up to you with a WEEU mic flag and a WEEU shirt on, they've been calling your game. It's been, we were at your practice. We were, sharing content with you on social media. And there you are, your quarterback or whoever, your player of the game or your coach is being interviewed. Or we're bringing you into the studio for the Slice of Sports program as part of your team to talk about being an athlete and stuff. Now it's relevant. Now it's something that is important to you, is important to your friends, is important to your family, and it's only available there.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it special, and that's what makes it click. The more of that we do, the more younger people are going to realize, hey, there is something here, and give us a shot. And I mean, you listen to talk radio.
Yeah.
I got myself introduced to talk radio and fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen to talk radio before, but once I discovered it and I found the things I liked, I was hooked.
Yeah, it's
all you need, though.
Absolutely, especially for local content. I was thinking of something you could do too for the schools. I don't know why I'm always thinking like outside the box on different things. But talk about sports. What about going into the schools when they have their shows, like their musicals, and afterwards actually interviewing them?
Oh, we've been
stars of the shows.
We've been talking about doing.
To bring in another element of school, because sports is great, but there's a lot of kids that don't do sports. And
when we first took over,
I'm thinking about myself.
No.
I was the drama. I'm more music, drama, whatever.
Our building is full of them. Mike Keller was a drama kid. My wife was a drama kid. So, and Jeff Nolan, our sports director of all things, was a drama kid too.
Cool.
But one of the things we did is one of the early things we did when we took over was we put together the WEEU Outstanding Student Campaign.
Oh, I love that.
And what we reached out to as many school districts as would listen to us, and had them nominate somebody to be an outstanding student. We had, I think, 2 students from a variety of school districts of people who responded and did vignettes on them. And there were profiles. We interviewed them, had their pictures. It was a social media. It was a radio. It was a website campaign.
Cool.
And the next year around, the school districts were asking us and wanting to be involved in it again. So we're absolutely
That's good with the schools. That's good. Great stuff. Yeah. Because that's what's going to bring the younger people in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to bring them in. That's awesome. Really cool.
It has to, and you talk about I talk about being the local forum. Mike on the morning show has had multiple musical troops. I want to call it. It's terrible. I don't know what do you call it? Like,
I don't know. Musical talented people.
The school districts have put on these musicals.
Musicians.
But they've had people put on musicals.
Yeah.
He has the school musical
awesome.
group come in, and they will talk about the director will talk, and then they'll talk about their show.
That's great.
And then they'll even perform one of the whatever number they want to perform from the show live on the radio. And but again, you're bringing 15. I've seen that studio packed with like 20 kids all singing around the microphones,
cool.
and they all love it.
Yeah.
All love it.
That's
And
good.
so
I
unique.
love bringing the young people in. That's great. Before we wrap this up, tell me, what do you want people to know about WEEU and what you guys are doing? And maybe just to tell the audience, what you're doing, how you can get involved with WEEU, how we listen, how we get in touch with you guys in case somebody has an idea or wants to get involved with the station in some way. How do we do all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, check out our website, 830weeu.com. Follow us on all of our social media. It's Facebook, Instagram. We're on X. We're on TikTok.
Yeah.
Would you believe that?
I just got back
I'm
on
too
TikTok.
old for TikTok.
I just got back on it because
Really?
I heard we're going to be buying it. The US
So you're
is
going to be
buying it.
allowed to do it again. So there you go.
I got out of it because once they said that it wasn't going to be around, I'm like, why am I putting all this time into this? So this morning I started my TikTok again for the Brad Wiseman Show. We're back on.
Well, and you can follow WEEU there. So
Yeah,
follow
absolutely.
us
I
there.
will. I think I already did, actually.
I know you
Yeah,
did.
yeah. I thought I already
appreciate
did.
that. Thank you. Thank you, Brad.
And your Instagram page is awesome too. You guys are doing a great job with content on there.
We've just completely reinvented
Yeah,
that. So,
love
but check it out if you haven't seen it. Please do. We'd appreciate that. But find out everything that we're doing. It's not. There's always a misconception of what AM radio is.
Yeah.
The thing I could say is give us a shot. Give us a listen, and I guarantee you're going to find something that's unique, that's different, and it's something that will likely get you hooked.
Yeah.
So
well, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping. And you know what? I can tell you have a lot of passion for what you're doing. You really do. You're excited about what you're doing. You have a lot of passion for it. And I think that's what's going to take the station to the next step. I think that's what's going to reinvent it because you have that energy to want to do that. And I think it's really cool. So I'm excited about seeing where you guys go.
Well, we can't do it without community support.
Yep.
So again, a great audience here in Reading.
Yep.
Great community, Berks County. What a great place.
Check out their marketing.
So,
Get on their station. Do some marketing through there because I know people are listening to it. So
Absolutely.
it's a good thing. It's awesome. All right. There you go. John Treese, WEEU, the voice of Berks and beyond, I guess is what it says on the
That's what we're calling
website.
it.
That's right. No, but that's just good stuff. So please support the station. They are doing all kinds of good stuff. They're making it happen again here in Reading, which we're really excited about. So that's about it. Thanks for joining us every Thursday at 7 p.m. All right. See you later. Hey guys, if you're looking to buy or sell a house in Berks County or beyond, let me know. This is Brad Wiseman from The Brad Wiseman Show. You probably know I'm also a realtor, but I wanted to remind you, if you have any questions or you need anything, please give me a call, 484-256-5836. Thanks.